I think that people who play the cello should tend to be practical. If the instrument sounds good, leave alone. You know.
Is that the advice you lived by, Italo?
Well, to me, my cellos never sound good. That's why I keep trying to make them sound better. I used to live in Detroit around on Sunday during the winter. A 6 drive all night to see Morel. He was very appreciative that I trusted him. Actually, I didn't, but I had nobody else to go. And after that, I learned to adjust my own cellos. I think that's very important, that a teacher should also encourage the students to learn about the instrument, how it works, etc., including making bridges, adjust some chords. It's not that difficult because the student already has the conception of the sound that he wants to have. The dealer, the guy who adjusts the cello in the shop, they don't have any conception. They just go by, oh, some supposed to be here, bridge supposed to be here. It's not that way you adjust the cello. So that's why I learned. I'm very happy. When I am gone, you're going to get all my bridges. Will be several boxes, probably over 600 bridges. That's my inheritance to you.
These are all bridges you carved by hand over the years, right? Though, I mean, you buy the blanks and you carve them down yourself.
He wants to know if these are the bridges that you made yourself. Are these the bridges that you made? Is that what you're giving him?
Yeah, they're all bridges made by myself.
So, so now kind of everyone's here. I'll introduce is Daniel, Nina, Kathy, Lauren, and Hannah are two of my high school students. I'm not sure who we're missing. Russell still. I think he's on the invite somewhere, but I think I sent it to Russell, right? So double check, make sure I didn't miss Russell. And I think actually we're waiting for Susan too. Oh, there's Russell.
Oh, look, there's all these other people. We didn't see everyone else. Let me see if I can switch to.
I'm just gonna send to Susan.
So Dad, these are all the people in Brenton's class.
Did you get the invite, question mark? Yeah, my phone.
How many hours you guys practice? How many hours a day?
5 minutes.
No, don't smile. Tell me how many hours.
One of them said 5 minutes. The others are going to answer. It takes a minute for the internet app.
3 hours, 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours.
Nina practiced 3 hours.
Well, I'll tell you what I used to do.
Catherine does 4 hours.
I used to wake up at 6 in the morning and go to Fort Victoria every day to practice before the symphony would start the rehearsal. I did that all my life. In my day off, I went to big places. I used to go to fairgrounds because there's nobody there, and I had a whole that big space for myself. I thought it was very beneficial for sound to develop a sound that can be heard a sound quality. When you practice in a small room, you not listen to your sound really. You listen just a part of it because it's a small place, and if you just do that, it's a big sound. So, but again, you should always look for to get the sound that you want. And many people don't know what kind of sound they want. That's the problem. So as you get mature, and with the help of a good teacher, and by the way, I'm not the type to bullshit people or to make him feel good. No, I tell the truth. If I don't like, I don't like. I think we should be that way first with ourselves. With ourselves. And a good teacher is wonderful, but actually it's wonderful to listen. Each one of you is yourself. That one has a beautiful speak up. That one has a beautiful vibrato. You can always learn and listen. I'm not a cellist playing. And I think you guys are very lucky because I know Britain. I think he's a wonderful player. He's a wonderful teacher. But above all, he's a wonderful friend. And he's not going to pay me any money for that. I tell her as I see it.
Don't have any anymore.
I heard some girls here. I have 3 cellists. At my age, it's difficult to listen to many people. So I listened to 3 of them, and I thought was incredibly impressed. Was incredibly impressed. So you have good luck. But I suggest you to take very serious the issue of adjusting your instruments. That's very important. What you have to do is get a cheap cello. Cheap, $100. So you can reserve a place in your house with a table and buy the tools that you need. Britta will help you and explain how you begin. Begin with some post. If you move with some post 1 millimeter, you have a sound. If you push it up close to the echo holes, you have a different sound. If you put a sound post that's too long for the cello, not only you're going to work the top of the instrument, but you're going to have a different sound, a scream sound. So there is no such a thing as deep place for sound post. It's none. No, does not exist. You have to find yourself. And I think I'm very what I heard from you guys. And I probably would come to hear the San Diego Symphony when they start. And I'll talk with you there. What kind of chair are you going to be placed? Where are you going to sit?
Oh, it's a section.
In the session?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the job.
It says,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's his first job. He just started. I wanted to welcome also Italo. I wanted to welcome Susan Moses, just joined. You know, she studied with Aldo, and of course, you know, with Piatigorsky. Oh, there she is. I don't know if you can you see the full gallery of everybody?
It goes on 2 pages. Dad, Brenton would like to introduce you to Susan Moses. She just joined and she studied with Aldo.
And I studied with Piatigorsky and Tortelier. And I lived in Europe and I knew Yannick very, very well. And I'm a great admirer of yours, Italo. I listened to all your recordings and I heard all about your wonderful father who taught you the cello. And I always was so inspired by the way you were taught and everything you did. And your playing is so noble and classically beautiful. And I use it as an inspiration always for my students.
Don't give it too much.
Okay, but I know you're good at fixing up cellos too, because in Brazil, you didn't have violin makers around all the time. So I knew you knew how to, you know, adjust instruments very well. I was always very impressed.
I get news for you.
What?
I hate to practice when I was a kid. These strings of cello used to come by the boat would bring it. Take 3 months.
Yeah.
I would like much more to go to the beach. We used to live in the beach and play ball with my friends. So one day I have a bright idea. Cut 2 of the lower strings with the scissors. My father said, that's impossible. That's a brand new string. He kept looking and said, you got the strings right. He got me real good. I spent weeks without sitting in a chair. So I didn't like to practice. But then as I grown up, I begin to really love the cello. I think it's the most beautiful instrument that there is. And Susan Moses, I heard your name so many times. Maybe it was on Aldo's home, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. And I lived in Europe. I was married to a student of Mr. Heifetz, so I lived in Paris many years. He was a wonderful French violinist, and I was in Europe. But then I came back. I had lived in Aldo's house when I was little, when I was growing up, and I teach in Bloomington, Indiana now. So maybe. And my second husband, Myron Bloom, was a great horn player and admired you. And I'm a great friend of Martha Babcock and Harvey. Do you know her husband, Harvey, the violinist, I think, who played in Detroit?
I think Harvey might have left Detroit right before Italo.
Okay.
Anyway,
And I wrote you fan letters. I wrote Italo fan letters too. So
what was the name again you were asking him about Detroit?
Harvey Segal is the
violinist
from the Detroit Symphony under the early days, very under Paray in the very beginning.
Harvey Segal, yeah.
Brenton
thinks you
yeah, the name is familiar, but
yeah, of course, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, Italo, I mean, I think if
I'm very happy for you guys.
Brenton's going to ask you a question, Dad. There's always a delay.
Sorry, so you're 91 now, right? So you were born in Natal, Brazil, and your father was an Italian cellist that came over from Italy to Natal, right? Could you tell us just a little bit about your life growing up until you came to America?
Brenton would like you to tell about your life growing up and how you came to America.
Well, my father used to play in a string quartet in Italy, and they come to visit Brazil in a tour. And he fell in love with my birthplace, Natal. He was a wonderful teacher. He has a very peculiar system of teaching. As a student began at the first position, also my father started him with the thumb position.
Yeah.
So,
Silva, Italian way. I lived in Italy. That's the Italian way. Yes.
by the time he gets to the fourth position, it advances with the thumb. It was a shortcut, but with my father, you have to learn solfeggio. Born on with the book, you have to say that's important. Many people don't believe so. It's very important because you develop your ears. Because when we think that we're playing tune, that means many things. That include the attraction of sounds of the notes. Some notes should be a little bit flat. Some notes a little bit sharp. To the main cellists that I have heard in my life, Emmanuel Foreman in the past was the one who has, sometimes it sounds like it's out of tune, but it's not. So solfeggio is very important. And you must listen all the cellists that they are available. And you have a great teacher, Britain. And I'm not trying to give a good word. I'm not the type for that. And I heard some cellists here. I don't see them here.
They're maybe on a different page, but they're there.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
we could go to gallery view, but so you, Italo's half brother, from I guess your father's.
His mother, the mother. They
Yeah,
had
I mean your mother's from the previous marriage, and your father married your mother, and Aldo Parisot was your older half brother.
Right.
And your father taught both you and Aldo the cello, right?
Your dad taught both Aldo and you.
Yeah. My mother, when I was married with a French engineer, he was commissioned by the Brazilian government to do some work in the bridges. His name was Aldo Parisot. And there's two brothers, Aldo and Danilo. Danilo was violinist and is a banker. But Aldo lived with us. And my father taught him, including when he left Natal to Recife, and we went to Rio after that. My father gave his cello, it was supposed to be mine, as inheritance, Alto cello. And so the grown-up of the family was like everybody else. We used to go to the beaches, all that thing. And it was a good time. It's too bad we cannot travel in time, go back, go far.
So,
And I'm so happy.
So Italo, I mean, I just wanted to say your father, I should have sent you guys clips first so you really know Italo's playing, but your father kind of was the taught most of the Brazilian cello school, kind of founded a lot of the Brazilian cello school. I'm wondering if you feel like telling the story about when you were in Rio Opera, I think, for your first job, and somebody had the pencil mark on their fingerboard. It's up to you if you want to tell that or not.
Would you share the story of when you were working in Rio and you helped one of your colleagues with a pencil?
Pencil mark on. It's up to you if you want to share that or not.
No, I had a teacher in Rio. He was foremost Brazilian cellist at the time. He studied Durand Alexanian, the great French pedagogue. And he liked to show off, especially when he was a new student. And the day that I was there to give a lesson, he has a new student, gorgeous girl, beautiful. And he started showing you off to her and put me down. Oh no, that's out of tune. No. Vibrate more here. It's very dangerous to infuriate a Brazilian. He also was the principal cellist of the Orquestra Sinfônica Brasileira. One day he has a very big solo from a modern Brazilian composer who would start on the high G. Now, he marked the fingerboard with a pencil. So, you put the hand there, voila. They have the note under his finger. He used to leave the cello in the chair during the break. I went very carefully and raised the pencil mark and moved back. So, I pay my karma was bad. And when he hit that note, it was a half tone low. His hair went up. I was so surprised. It was a bad thing. And I feel ashamed to tell you that. But since I'm very close to leave the earth, I'm confess all my sins. And
Italo, a question?
Britain,
Can I ask you a
the
question?
first time I met Britain, his mom and his father, Britain was the other thing. They come to the concert. I was a soloist, and I met them. And it has been a lifetime friendship. His mom is a beautiful pianist. And he has also a sister who is a beautiful pianist. And so there's not much to tell.
Could you tell us a little bit, Italo, about the time you spent with Casals?
Did you ever spend any time with Casals?
Yeah.
Could you tell him about it also?
With Casal?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, in New York, when I just come from Munich, Aldo brought me to the United States, and I lived in his home for good 6 months. And it was a competition, 11 treaty competition. And he thought that I should participate. So at the time, he had already formed Stred, but the Montagnana he bought from Piatigorsk was for sale at Wallets in New York. He got back the cello for me to practice. So I played the competition. We have 20 cellists. So they gave me the first prize, but I did not win. The first prize was violin and cello and piano. It was a very unfair competition. And so Arnold Steinhardt got the first prize. And in the jury, we had George Zell, Aya Gabusova, a bunch of big names. And that was when Misha Schneider becomes my friend because he liked my playing. And he said, well, I'm going to ask Sasha to find a scholarship for you to come to next Puerto Rico festival. And he did. So, and playing for Casals as a student was the easiest thing in the world. First of all, it makes you very comfortable. And so he gave me very good suggestions, but he did not bother with technical problems of the cello at all. His teaching was all about music, phrasing. Yeah. But the thing is, names can impress people a great deal. Sometimes can be a good help, sometimes can't. Many people who studied the Heifetz would not say he was the great teacher. He was the great of all violinistas. Yes. But you should not be accustomed ever to depend on somebody else to find yourself in the musical world. You should do that by yourself. And you're very lucky that you live in the United States. And so I only can wish you the most wonderful life. And I'm sorry I cannot meet you personally. If I'm still around, I'll drop by to see you.
He's pointing at Nathan in particular. Let's see, because you're moving to San Diego, you're going to be a neighbor. Brenton, do you have any other questions for Dad? Or I heard there was somebody else that had a question.
Oh, Susan, do you want to ask a question?
Yes, I did want to ask a question, Italo. Aldo always told me that when you were children, you never played Dvorak, Tchaikovsky. You played Davidoff, Goltermann, Klengel. That until about 17, you never played any of the big pieces. That's what Aldo told me, and I was just interested because I think too, when I teach, to teach Davidoff Concerti and all these developmental pieces by those people are really important, and that young people don't need to rush to play Rococo variations when they're 12, when they should be playing Davidoff and Popper Concerto and this and that. What do you remember what you played when you were a young student of your father?
Oh yeah.
What did you play? Did you play Gutzmach or David? What did you play? Golterman? I don't know.
No, I never played that dog cello concert. No,
No. Oh.
no. I play all the Gutzmach book. Gutzmach,
Mm-hmm.
very difficult. Some of them, it's incredibly difficult. It takes months to master.
Mm-hmm.
But the technical aspect of the instrument, any instrument, is establish what you're going to do as a cellist.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what else you played as a young person?
Oh, scale. My father used to play Goldman concertos. My father was very nervous to play in public.
Mm-hmm.
Very nervous. So he didn't want any soloist business with him. And but he one day our family was sit in the table, eat lunch. We call almost so. It's like almost dinner here in the United States. My father was taking a shower, and that student pop up. It was a little early because he wants to warm up before the lesson with my father. So my mom took him to the room where my father would teach, and he started playing, warm up. And all of a sudden to hear that huge F natural. The kid play a F sharp instead of natural. My father was taking a shower full of soap. And the kid kept playing the wrong note. My father got out of the shower with a towel around his body, full of soap, go inside of the room of the kid to point to him. Yeah. That's how he was so wonderfully attached to his students.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
But I'm sure everybody has some. I don't know why you guys want to know about those things about me. I don't have no idea. Britton says he used to filter my comments I used to send to him. Filter.
But we make them. I think everybody's heard about the mosquito fart sound and the baby mosquito fart and the mouse fart sound.
When I was in Germany, we used to have tickets to the concerts as students. I have a scholarship from German government. But some concerts we did not have because they are very expensive. And people need money because they have to pay the artists. So when I come, sometimes I stop, eat lunch to save money to buy the ticket to hear that cellist. So I get to the hall and I look at the stage and I see a guy moving his hands. I could hear no. The sound he produced was so small. It did not project in the hall. So when Britain put me on the cello chart, the only phrase I could come up to describe what is listening to someone, moving the hands and not come up with a mouth fart sound. You know, a mouth. That's how much noise they make when they make a fart. So Britain says he has to filter all my comments. But some of them went, one day I was having coffee and the Canterbury come behind me. May I talk with the creator of mouth fart sound? I said, yeah, Carter. So sometimes we can help. It should not be that way, but we have to be original and be sincere with ourselves.
Actually,
And
sound, Italo, as we're getting into sound, that's something I don't know, it's probably been a while since I've sent you guys the clips, but I think Italo has one of the most beautiful cello sounds I ever heard. That's why I started kind of, when I grew up hearing that around the house when I was 4 or 5 years old, this beautiful sound, that was what got me. That's what we talk about always. That's that's the first thing that grabs us. How did you develop your concept of sound? Did it come naturally, or did you, I mean, your whole concept of the sound of the cello, how did you develop this?
Brinton complimented the sound you make on the cello and wants to know how you developed your sound.
oh, come on. It's nothing exceptional about sound. I try to play in tune. Like I said, I prefer to practice in open spaces. I avoid practicing in small places. I think it's a bad mistake because you get used to use a pressure that's wrong for the sound. If you are in a small room, low ceiling, you fortissimo will be a pianissimo in a stage. Because the stage is open. So I will practice that. Another thing, I used to practice long notes every day. And one of the most difficult things to practicing long notes comes to play thirds. It's a very slow bow. Thirds. And vibrates up to the top. It takes almost an hour to do one scale. But you develop, you know how to do to make a nice sound. Everything that we have to pay for anything. So the payoff of get a nice sound is to work out. Casals used to call sans filet in French. You know, that means long notes, long notes. He used to practice. I know because my teacher in Rio de Janeiro said, is there not a person who was following Casals in a tour of concerts in Germany? And he took a room next to the Casals. And he kept listening and took a recording in the morning. Long notes. Without cracking. Very slow bow without cracking. That's very hard to do. You need to have a lot of motivation. But believe me, the outcome is certain. But I heard you guys, some of you, it's no problem with the sound. You get a good sound. Britain has a good sound.
You talked, when I was younger, I remember you talked a lot about playing near the bridge.
Do you have any suggestions about playing near the bridge or the fingerboard?
Well, the fingerboard and the bridge, people says, when I play next to the bridge, it sounds screaming. Actually, it's not screaming. It's because the guy does not know how to use the right pressure. If you watch great people who, for example, first time I heard Rostropovich, I was in the pit, orchestra pit. I did not have the ticket. When he used the bow close to the bridge, he does not use as much pressure as he does when the bow is back. I watched that. And I asked him, I used to go and pick her up him. I asked the manager of the orchestra, let me get Slava in the hotel. And I was talk with him. He's another cellist who also was an advocate of long notes and close to the bridge. A different type of sound effect was I forgot his name, Jesus.
Are you thinking Tortelier is what you told me about before? Paul Tortelier?
Totally, yeah. Totally, yeah. He come to this stage, was comical. He was in formal dress, without the cello, orchestra waiting for him to come. He plays Schumann. Yeah, Schumann. So he come without the cello, get in the middle of the stage, and start giving push-ups. Nobody believed it. Well, the reason why I'm doing push-ups, he told the audience, because someone is spreading all over the place. Now I'm getting too old to play concerts. And I'm to tell you, I'm not too old. I'm a young man. The guy was nuts, completely nuts. So I have seen many things in my life. And so, okay, my friends, it's been wonderful, wonderful. And,
Can I ask?
Brenton, if he has a last question for you.
A lot of them are probably going to have careers involved in an orchestra. You know, you spent, I think, almost 40 years in the Detroit Symphony. How do you keep your artistic level up, your own personal playing level up? How would you advise them to keep playing artistically, keep playing well, even when you have to play in the orchestra? If you can figure out a way to make sense out of that question.
So all of these students will most likely be in the symphony like you were. And Brenton's question is, what advice do you have for somebody playing as a member of a symphony to keep up their own personal artistic level?
oh, that's a damn good question.
That is a good question.
Well, we never know. First of all, we never know if everybody is going to be playing in the orchestra. We don't know. One of you may be a member of a string quartet and play trios. Or who knows, maybe one will be a soloist. They're young people. But playing in orchestra, not easy. Because you lose your personality unless you are a principal. You cannot play solos. You hear the principal play solos. So if you have to do it, then you do it. If you make good money, so if you get a good job in a great orchestra, so. But there is no really a great advice, except if I could play, if I survive, you guys do, because I am a lonely person. My personality, I'm looking for peace always. I adore when I'm by myself. I can meditate. I can know myself. I can ask questions to myself and I can answer. So, so I'm not totally a material being. I would say I'm 80% spiritual being. I do believe there is a mind, a power that our senses are too limited to comprehend. And but our own personal work never be lost, believe me. If you practice 10 hours a day, you'll be rewarded for that. So I'm talking with a wonderful people here. And
You used to go every morning and practice beforehand, right? You used to go to the orchestra and practice before. I think he was telling us earlier, he used to show up at 6 a.m. always to go before rehearsals, and he would have practiced a full before even the rehearsal began. I just wanted to ask, Italo, if you have any, from any of the videos that you heard, if you have anything specific you wanted to share with the students from who played in the videos?
Do you have anything specific that you want to say after getting to hear some of the students play on their YouTube videos?
I think they are very well guided. There's not much to say, but I don't want to see a carbon copy of a cellist that he has about his teacher, regardless who is his teacher. Piatigos, Heifetz, Foreman, Britton Smith. I think the student has to have individuality and they have to find their own personality, musical personality. But for that, you need a good teacher, and they are very hard to find. Some of them that we have around today, no, I would not recommend anybody to go to them. And so that's wonderful, wonderful. I'm so happy. And you guys also is going to help the challenge of the future. That's the most important still of all that, because you'll be in the hands of good teachers. And I think Britain is a good teacher.
Well, we'll see.
You should learn, I'm serious about that, learn how to adjust the cello. Because nobody has the conception of the sound that you have but yourself. And
All right, so we will we will let you go. I know this has been such a pleasure for us so many years I've been talking about you, and I wanted them to get a chance to actually meet you and see that I'm not just someone I made up, because it kind of sounds like you might have been. And I think actually maybe we'll do just with us, with our class, we'll do like one more class so we can get through a little bit more playing things. We don't have to do it today, but let's I want to finish the listening list of the Dvorak, and then we'll maybe go through some more playing. But I thought it was absolutely worth to do it, so you get a chance to meet Italo and kind of hear. And I will send all of you some clips also, so you can really hear. I mean, Italo to me embodies this idea that the sound, the first thing you fall in love with is the sound. I mean, I remember as a little kid, the two things I remember are like the smell of cigarette smoke and the sound. It just got you. Even as a little kid, you just knew something was going on, something special was happening. And that is ultimately, that's what we're doing. We're in the business of sound. Italo, I think, is really one of the greatest cellists I've known. Really one of the two people that influenced me the most in my life. And you get a chance to, I'll give you a chance to hear some of what he's done. He's a great musician. Also the man who kind of showed me Heifetz and Feuermann, and this kind of world opened my ears to all this. And because what we listen to has such a huge impact on what we become. It opens your mind. If you only eat one kind of food, you only know one kind of taste. If you try, it's like the language you hear growing up. If you hear a certain kind of language, you speak with that accent. And Italo is a living embodiment of this tradition. So we'll let him go for today, but thank you so much, Italo, for joining us and sharing a little bit of your life. Any closing words?
Brenton said thank you, and they sang goodbye. Any wisdom you want to impart before we go?
when I was in Detroit, I have a very bad instrument.
Talk a little louder, I think.
I bought in Philadelphia a French cello who has an A. It was incredible sound, but D, G, and C, especially the low instruments, nothing. And I keep thinking, how wonderful if I could get a nice Italian cello. I have no money. In those days, it was very cheap to buy Egoneris. I bought mine for $14,000. Today, Egonero is sold for 2 or 3 million. So I keep thinking, I keep visualizing. How you say visualizing? Visualize playing an Italian cello. I really thought that was important. One day, I come to the orchestra to ask for a loan to buy a cello. I cannot give to you. I understand your problem. The following month, I was the soloist with the Don Quixote, with the orchestra too. We play in Philadelphia. I remember the music critic, Raymond Morin. I think that critic is still available. So he gave me great write-up. Next day I read the paper, I was very happy. And then something, hey, take that write-up and you go and talk with the president of the Detroit Symphony. It was the idea of going to my room. He was a very rich man. I went to his office and I said, Ford, his name is Ford, not the Ford, the car, the people of the car industry. I said, look, I'm a handicapped because I don't have a good shower. And I want to buy one and I need your help. And I gave to him the write-up of Philadelphia because I knew he's not going to read it. He says, I will talk with the president and see what we can do. So, same day, he talked with the president of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Told the case. He said, okay, tell him to go and shop for a cello. A day before, I could get a penny loan. Now I have an offer to look for a cello. Chicago, I was in Chicago. I saw the Guarneros, Joseph Andrea Factilius, for the first time. It was in the box, and the Chicago Symphony also has a brother of that cello, and people did not like to play in that. Frank Miller was the principal cellist, and he told me, oh, the Guarneros you have here is nothing. The instrument was so badly adjusted, they could not sound. So I got my Guarneros. So power of visualization is important. You are all very young people. You have a whole future ahead of you. That's beautiful. You choose a remarkable, great profession. Again, Britain, not trying to flatter you, but I saw the results. They're good teachers. Goodbye.
They're good students. So, and thank you, Italo. And just to put a cap on what he's saying, also taking the initiative, being your own advocates is so important. Zara used to do that. Piatigorsky said he had no time to hear her. She showed up at his hotel room at 6 a.m. as he's getting ready to check out. Anyway, so.
Of my bridges.
All right, I'm going to say goodbye to Italo. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're welcome. Dad, hold on.
Oh, he's getting his bridges?
If he breaks this, it's your fault, Brinton. He just took it off the wall. He wants to show you his bridges.
These are all carved by hand, with an X-Acto knife. Italo's procedure for carving the bridges was he would not sleep or eat or anything for 3 days, just blasting hyphets, chain smoking, nude, carving the bridge until it was done, and then he would go sleep.
Nice to meet you all. Bye.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.